Hello.
Yeah, man, how are you?
I'm good, brother. You okay?
Yeah, good. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. You look like you're busy there. You write some tunes?
I've just put one out. I put another tune out last night on Patreon.
Excellent.
Proper dancing on this, man. Proper, like, old house.
Ooh, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I'll go and check it out. Are you getting really productive and creative? Let me hear it. Let me hear it.
Right, okay. So it's got a long build. It's like 7 minutes long altogether, but it starts off. I'll start it at the beginning and then I'll wind it forward a bit. Proper like 1990 dances thing. 8 to 8, 8 to 8. Yeah, proper.
I'm coming up.
So it builds like that for a bit. A bit further, just about a minute in now. Can you hear it all right?
Yeah, take well.
But anyway, so
It's gonna get me right flag.
oh, beautiful, yeah.
You're taking me back. You're taking me back.
And then check the breakdown here. Hang on.
Shadow or measure a memory when you can't the memory.
Right this time. You think of that then? Call you can't weigh love.
You fucking love it, don't you?
Nice, isn't it? I like it. I love it. And I've been working on it. I've had that tune in my system for a couple of years. I've been working on it, but it's we're using it in the film. You know, I'm making a film eventually.
Tell me.
We'll tell you all about that. We've got a lot to catching up to do, but yeah, this is going to be a song in the film that we're working on. But I just thought I'd share it with my Patreon people like this week and give them a little treat. So I've been tarting that up. That's why it's on the
Excellent. So how is all that going? Because I remember the last time we spoke, you were kind of delving into that, and I kind of just thinking of creative ways to get your music out, isn't it? So I mean, how is it working out? Is it happening?
It's early days. I mean, it's early days because it's Patreon it's like a crowdfunding thing where people subscribe every month for whatever membership level you build.
Yeah.
So I've set up a £3, £5, and £10 a month level. So for £3 a month, anybody that follows me gets a brand new song every month.
Fantastic. Okay.
That might not come out on general release for months or years, or might never come out. Or, you know what I mean? That probably won't come out as a record until after the film's been made, which could be a couple of years maybe. But so you build up a community of people who are, you know, the main spirit of it is they're supporting you to be creative, so you can be creative. So it's not like, you know, people could argue that, you know, for £3 you can buy an album on iTunes or whatever, you know what I mean? So why should I give Clint £3 for one song a month? But the whole spirit of it is, I need a bit of help from a community, my fan base, because I lost all my DJ work. So let's start putting music out again. And I've been dead straight with it on Patreon. I've been, you know, in the introduction to it, I've been very vocal about the fact that this is partly as a reaction to losing all that income that's gone.
So you've really had to rethink things, haven't you?
Yeah. But I've enjoyed the process. I mean, it's been a funny year because we went into it in March of last year.
Yeah.
As a family, I mean, my wife doesn't work. We homeschool our kids. We've been doing that for 8 years. So any money that comes into this house is what I earn.
Yeah.
And, 2/3, 3/4 of that is DJ income, and it's all gone. So I went into the pandemic in a bit of a dark place, really, and up here thinking, what am I going to do here? Because I'm not like yourself. I'm not a multimillionaire. People think we're multimillionaires because we went on top of the pops, but we're not. So I'm, you know, it was a bit of a scary time at the beginning, but I just thought, you know what, I've been on my arse before in my career, and I've always fought through that, you know, those dips and come out of it even stronger. You know what I mean? It's like every time it's happened, I've come out in a better place.
Good.
And I do feel now that I'm really going to benefit from not being out there DJing every night of the week. You know, it's like I've got more time now to focus on making my own music and spending time with my family. You know, we're going out walking every day, me and my wife and the dog and the kids, and it's like I've not done that ever in my marriage because I've always been too busy working. You know, and Charlie and the kids will go out, and so it's I've really benefited up here with, you know, everything, particularly the fact that I can now be making new music every day. That's, you know, that's like just treasure for me. That's amazing, you know. And I've learned a lot as well. It never does you any harm to learn new stuff, whether it's to do with technology like the Zoom, or whether it's to do with, you know, sending music over the internet like me and you did recently. Did that remix for me. It's like I've learned a lot, you know what I mean? So I'm just I feel better equipped, ready for the next chapter.
Right, and you do seem really positive, Clint. But it's, yeah, I think creative people are just finding new creative ways to do stuff, and you know, most people I've spoken to, they're just finding their way through it. And you know, I spoke to Miles earlier, and Miles kind of burnt himself out a bit last year because I think he was thinking too much, and he was putting loads of, like, you know, live streams on and doing stuff like this, and he kind of went for it a bit and really sort of grabbed it. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And I mean, like I say, you're feeling really positive about things. I mean, are you missing DJing and stuff? It's it. I don't think you are you?
I'm missing. You know what? I'm good at. I can walk out on a stage, or, you know, in a club in front of thousands of people and smash it. And I remember that feeling. It's been nearly a year now since I did it.
Right.
But I'm missing the human beings.
It's the social thing of it, isn't it?
I tell you, I'm not missing, James. I'm not missing on a Saturday where I've got 3 gigs, and this happens like 2 or 3 gigs on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And the first one will be, say, in Blackpool, and then one in Bolton, and then South Nightclub, which I do every Saturday. That thing of, you know, you pull up outside a venue somewhere at 5, 6 o'clock, and, you know, you're getting you ready to take your gear in, or you're ready to start a DJ set. And sometimes I do feel that anxiety. You know what I mean? That moment before you step into a venue, sometimes it's a bit like, oh, I've got 2 hours here, and then I've got 3 hours in Bolton, then 4 hours in, and it's a full night of people hanging down your neck. Clint, hey, Boon, you know, shout Stone Roses.
I've said it. People just want selfies with you. The people are all over. People love you, Clint. That's why.
You know what? I'm not begrudging that at all. But I'm saying I'm not missing the chaos of being that DJ. You know what I mean? I'm not missing that frantically, you know, legging it down the M6 to try and get back to Manchester in time. You know, it's like chaos, absolute chaos. So I'm hoping that when it comes back, I can be a bit more choosy and a bit more selective about what DJ work I do.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And the idea of building a Patreon is just so that I don't have to say yes to every gig I get offered. You know, at the other end of it, I can be more choosy.
I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't be writing music. I mean, you always write amazing songs, and you have, like, over the years. So it must be natural going in that studio. I mean, that tune sounded amazing. So, you know, does it come in?
Well, I can still write a good song. I'm not a brilliant musician, but I can write good songs. You know what I mean? It's like, and they're always quite simple. I mean, that's just a simple old house vibe, isn't it? Ravey house vibe. But it's come from a place when you get to hear the lyrics properly. When I send it later, you realise it's quite an emotional track, really.
Right.
And it's got very, very simple. There's only 4 lines of words in it, but it's quite to me, it's quite an emotional thing that I've written.
Brilliant.
One of the things I'm finding things like these tapes here. So these are DAT tapes that I recorded in 1999. Yeah, 1999, 2000. So there's stuff on here. There's songs on here that I recorded at home in my home studio back then.
Yeah.
They've just never been played because I moved out at a certain point in time and never got around to rebuilding that studio. And I got married again. And so a lot of these pieces of music have been lost in time, literally just on a shelf or in a box.
Yeah.
So I'm digging through this stuff now. And I'm finding some beautiful stuff there that,
it's just, you've got time on your hands, haven't you? You've got time to do these wonderful things.
There's the time, but also I can justify it now because I've got my Patreon following.
Yeah.
So I can come down in here for a few hours and I'm not just dicking about. I'm actually earning some money from it. Not a lot yet, but potentially. What do I want to be doing in a year's time? Do I want to be running around like a blue house fly DJing, playing other people's records, or would I rather be here making my new records? I mean, I'd rather be doing more of this. So that's why Patreon's a brilliant thing. It's like for our generation now,
yeah.
Nobody's going to give me a record deal at 60.
Well, we had this conversation, didn't we? I said, who's going to give a guy in their 50s a record deal? You've got to be kind of realistic, haven't you?
Absolutely,
I put a record out myself, and it's very much a cottage industry. I've mastered it myself, done the artwork myself, and paid for the vinyl myself, and I'm going to post it out myself at the post box office. And I actually quite like it. It's kind of. It's a little bit different because I've still got a day job and I still need to go in and teach and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But I don't know if I'd enjoy having not that anyone would give us a record deal, I don't think, or I don't know, but I don't know if I'd enjoy the pressure, to be honest with you. I quite kind of like,
I think because record deals these days, from what I gather, they're not the same as the ones we had, where somebody give you like £250,000 and they said, go away, come back next year, we'll give you some more. It's not like that anymore, is it? In the recording industry, I don't think it is anyway. No. But the thing, what I love about Patreon, the way we're working now, is that I'm in direct contact, literally, with the people that are following me. We do like little Discord chats every couple of weeks, a little text thing on a Sunday night, whatever. But it's so instant. Like last night at 5 o'clock, I was going to put this track out, and I was just getting it all uploaded onto Patreon, and then I realised I was listening to it on the headphones. I heard something slightly in the mix that I didn't like. This is at 5 o'clock last night. So I came back down here, made the alteration, run a new mix, and that was it. Done within half an hour. I had it out to the people, and I was getting feedback about it. It's so instant, you know what I mean?
That is so instant. Because the turnaround on records used to be like 3 months or something, didn't it? It was just like, now you kind of just moved on so quick. Like, it's just like that, isn't it? That's brilliant.
It's a beautiful. It's a great time to be a musician, but apart from the pandemic and everything, it's in terms of technology.
Yeah,
it's a great time to be alive. This now, it's so.
Yeah,
I found some tapes the other day. One of the DAT tapes I found was 20 years ago. I was really close friends with Arthur Baker, the producer.
Yeah, I know.
He was living in London. He had a place in New York as well, but we got on that well. He gave me keys to his London place. I had my own keys to Arthur Baker's house in London. So whenever I was in London, I could stay at his house and just, even if he wasn't in the country. And we recorded 3 tracks together, which I found recently on a DAT. And I remember recording them, and I actually drove to London with my Vox Continental organ, so not the Inspiral's Farfisa that I used to use, the Vox Continental. Drove to his house in Camden, brought the organ, carried it upstairs into his house, set it up, recorded the organ, stayed the night, drove back home. And these days, it's like just clicking over the internet. James, remix that for me.
Yeah.
Incredible, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
I'm buzzing about this. And then the other great thing about technology, coming back to the income thing, is that I've created 4 new income streams in the last 12 months or so, just by using online apps, technology. So I've set up a Boon Army merchandise business through Shopify.
Yeah.
All print to demand. So I don't even have to post it out. People print it in Germany and post it, whatever. I'm selling my cow art on Etsy.
Right.
Like the old Inspiral's cow sort of design. That's selling that on
iconic.
Etsy. I'm selling my music on Patreon, and then I'm doing these live stream DJ sets every Friday night. over Beat Stream, another app, which is a digital thing that, you know, and it's all little bits of money coming in to help out at home, you know what I mean? So,
and it must be nice because it's all stuff you love doing, isn't it? So, you know.
Yeah, I don't do any of it begrudgingly.
No, even the dream.
And then in between all that, because I'm working at home, you know, I don't really have to go out the house now. I'm doing everything here. So I can be with the family. I can be doing all my DIY. I've been pulling my old dishwasher out today. I'm getting a new one delivered in about an hour. So I'm doing all that in between, you know, rather than spending hours driving here and driving there and not being around. I'm getting the best of both worlds now. I'm able to be a dad. I'm able to be an husband. Me and my wife are getting more time together than we've ever had since we got married.
And has anything changed with the homeschooling then? Or I mean, if you do homeschooling anyway, do you?
Yeah, we've done it for, like, say, 8 years, I think it is, since we started doing it.
Right. Okay.
And we don't. I mean, it's not a frantic pace. It's like we're not doing. You know, we don't say we're doing 7 subjects today. You know, geography, English. It's not like that. It's like right. I'll talk you through it. So Oscar, 16-year-old Oscar Boon.
Yep.
He's just started music college in last September, Manchester College of Music. And he's a brilliant bass guitarist. That's his main instrument. He wants to be a session man.
Oh.
But during his homeschooling, he was doing this thing called Net School, where you do online classes. This is going back for, you know,
the planned lessons, and he just accesses the learning.
Yeah, and we said when we asked him what subjects he wanted to study for GCSE, he picked biology, chemistry, computer science, and maths.
Wow, that sounds heavy.
That's what he wanted to do, but he wanted to be a musician as well. But he smashed all his GCSEs, and that's a kid that's been learning at home for 8 years. But his dream is to be a session man and do the bass. You know, that's his main thing. And then the younger two, we've got Hector, who's 14, Cassius, who's 10. Charlie, my wife, does pretty much every day this thing called Doodle Maths or Doodle English with them. Again, it's online stuff that you can just tap into or subscribe to. So we make sure we've got the basic academic subjects of maths and English sorted. But around that, a lot of homeschooling, a lot of the way we do it is just following the kids' spirit and following their interests. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And encouraging that. And we're quite relaxed about the way we homeschool.
Yeah.
It's been funny watching the world, not funny in a bad way, but it's been the way that the world's been thrown into this enforced homeschooling, and seeing that the amount of people, parents getting stressed about it or panicking about it or thinking they're not doing it right. And our attitude is just relax. You know, the kids aren't going to die. You know, they might not pick up a few of the academic things that they might have learned if they're in conventional schooling. But God, I went to grammar school and didn't really enjoy it. And I was made to learn Latin and biology and physics and a lot of stuff that I never need it. I've never needed it. You know what I mean? No. It's like, you know, for me, my real education my life started really in 1976 when punk happened. You know, that was, I'd just left grammar school. It was an old boys grammar school, Cardinal Langley. And I'd just left. I'd gone to art college, and I think, yeah, that was 75, 76. Punk happened. Sex Pistols came to Manchester twice in 76. Once to play the famous Free Trade Hall gig.
Well, yeah, were you at that gig, were you, Clint?
Not that one, but I saw them 6 months later. They came back and did a club called the Electric Circus. Yep. And that was December the 9th, 1976, Thursday night. Went there straight from college with my mates. And it was just that was it. Everything changed. And that was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to go off and do university and be an art teacher. I'm not going to be a vet. All these things I talked about. It was like, I'm going to do that. Because there were kids on stage that night. There was kids on stage that were like working class kids with not a lot of musical skill. In you know, like Buzzcocks. The lineup that night was Johnny Thunder's Heartbreakers, Buzzcocks
on as well. Oh wow!
And the Sex Pistols. It was the Anarchy tour. So it was.
That's when you saw the lights.
Absolutely, it was like, you know. Until then, I'd always dreamed of being a pop star, like a lot of kids did in the 70s, but never really did anything about it, like learning to play guitar or anything. I just wanted to be Elvis Presley. Then I was like, but that night when I saw that happening, and also we'd had a couple of records that had arrived in the common room at college where we all used to work, the studio. So we knew this scene was happening, but seeing it in the flesh that night and seeing, you know, Paul Simon and like stuff written on his shirt, you know, it's like, God, that's us. You know, it's us. That's what we're like. You know, we're art students. We had all sorts of weird stuff going on with our clothes and that. But yeah, that was the night that I thought, that's the path that I'm going to go down now. And that was it. You know, I dropped out of art college within weeks, set about hanging out with bands around Oldham, you know, where I lived, to learn about how microphones work and what an amp does, what's an AC30. You know, I started driving bands about and just hanging out with them and sort of managing some bands like you do when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was a great time.
What place to grow up though. I mean, Manchester must have been like, you know, it's a real melting pot of like cultures and stuff going on. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
and it's still like that. It's still a great place for, you know, for our culture, for, you know, for music culture particularly. It's still a fantastic place, you know.
I mean, I remember the first time I actually met you, Clint, and you were really kind to me because I was a young boy and I was doing Top of the Pops for the first time, and as I walked across the sound stage or whatever they call it, the Lars were playing There She Goes, which was just like mind-boggling. I know they're not a Manchester band, but then we did our little sound check, and then you came over to me and you kind of introduced yourself, really sweet, and you said, shall we go up to the BBC canteen and have a coffee?
Oh, brilliant.
And then
not be rock and roll though, is it?
But the bit that sticks in my mind is Sean Ryder was sat there, and for some reason, you and Sean Ryder give each other evils. And you turned around to me and says, oh, I think we've got a bit of beef, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, we did have that point.
And I was kind of, and this to me, being a young boy, you know, I was surrounded by these Manchester legends, you know, and it's just like, and I was thinking, God, is it like this? Are they quite hostile? Are they a bit scary? And
I'll tell you what that was. I can tell you exactly that moment in time, and it did happen.
Yeah.
Because before that, we were great friends. And since that, we've been great friends ever since. We are still to this day close friends.
Good.
I helped him out at a point in his career when he was on his arse and he really needed some help, and I was there for him. That was only about the year 2000, 20 years ago, whatever. But yeah, that moment in time was, I think it's John Robb that did an interview, or did a piece about the Happy Mondays.
Yeah.
And I think it was in Sounds. It was a big article about, you know, how great they were. And he phoned me up because he knew that I was a massive fan of the Mondays, even though I was a friend of theirs. I was a massive fan as well.
Yeah.
Because I've gone on record as saying that every time, for a couple of years back then, every time I saw Happy Mondays play live, I felt like we should jack it in. I just thought, we can't do that. And it obviously within a couple of days it wore off, and I'd be like, yeah, but we're good at doing what we do, you know, we're a garage band or whatever. But yeah, so John Robb phoned me up and I talked to him about what I loved about him. And there was one quote out of that piece that he did with me that was highlighted in the middle of the, like they used to do. And it was a compliment. I can't remember what it was. But Sean, who, you know, was very much still under the influence then, he was, you know, not in a great place, took it as me having a go at him.
Oh, right. Okay. Was he quite sensitive?
Sorry?
Was he quite sensitive, was he, at that point?
He was a junkie, wasn't he, for 14 years?
Right.
And he does now, you know, it's like he you know, he knows that he was in a bad place and he don't remember a lot of what went on. But yeah, that escalated then to the next interview we did. Some of the lads out of our band had a go at Sean. Or did it was a clueless knobheads. Sean referred to us as some members of the Inspiral Carpets are clueless knobheads, apparently. That's what he said in an interview. And I think that escalated then to our rhythm section, having to go at Sean in our next interview. And it was just like that stupid things that
yeah,
yeah, not as big as the Oasis Blur thing, but sort of like that. Somebody in the press, you know, starting something.
And then it just gets blown out of proportion.
Yeah, and it wasn't John Robb's fault. It wasn't John Robb. It was just Sean.
No. But that was quite a point for me when you know, meeting you for the first time and then seeing Sean Ryder and then all this going on and me just going, whoa, what is this? But you know, and our friend, we have stayed friends over the years for many years. I mean, I remember I used to come and stay at your house when we used to fly to Manchester Airport, and you used to show me the sights of Manchester. I think you took me to James's studio once, the James the band's studio. We drove past it and you were collecting something, I don't know. Or so I mean, it's kind of it's been a long friendship, Clint.
Like an Uber driver.
But we didn't have them back then. But now we're both in the north of England, aren't we?
Yeah. So you're over in Yorkshire, right, at the moment?
Yeah, I need you to come and visit when you can. Yeah,
I've not been to that place yet. I'll come have a nose when we get through all this. Do you remember that time when we were in Japan together? I think you were touring with Jesus Jones, I think.
Oh, okay.
I've got a feeling you were doing a gig in Japan. we were playing the next night in, I think probably Tokyo.
Did I meet you in the airport or something?
Sorry?
Where did I? Not the time I met you in the airport, was it?
No, this was at the gig. We came to see you at your gig.
Oh right, okay.
I think we were playing the next night, and Jesus Jones, I'm sure they were supporting you in Tokyo. Does that ring any bells?
No.
We came to your gig. We came backstage. I'm going to the dressing room with you. I remember Zach doing his lime trick.
Yeah, it was great. If he had an audience, yeah.
He did that. We hung out with you. We had a drink, and then I think we were getting off a bit early to go and get food. So I think you went on stage and started your gig. And as we were leaving, all the fans that were outside the gig thought that we were Jesus Jones.
All right, okay.
That chased us. We drove off in our minibus. We're all like, we pretended we were Jesus Jones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you were the Inspiral Carpets. They were massive, weren't they? They were kind of,
Yeah, but nobody thought that was us watching. For some reason, we convinced them we were Jesus Jones. I think we were just being dicks. You know what I mean? It's like,
all right.
Never want to be Jesus Jones. They're back together, Jesus Jones. What are they doing gigs again?
They're doing gigs. They're working really hard. Yeah, they've got a really good tight unit, and they all get on really well, which is really nice to see, because bands after 25, 30 years, there's friction and people not getting on, and so it's lovely to see them guys, the original four,
really brilliant
together. So yeah, I'm kind of, it's lovely to see, you know what I mean? I mean, I was just talking to Fuzz earlier. We're going to do a Bentley's gig in November at Shine. I mean, that may be the next time I see you, actually, Clint.
Yeah, I think I'm DJing on the Friday night. I think. Yeah, we'll
save some party tokens for Saturday night.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. The other way around, actually. I've got to make sure I don't party too hard with you.
Right.
Yeah.
See what happens there. I mean, usually when I do Shine, I'm usually doing Saturday nights at South Nightclub. I've been doing that for 19 years.
Yeah.
But we don't know yet if that club's going to reopen now after all this. So,
it's so
annoying. I'm saying Shine, if I'm still doing South, I might have to leg it back after like Saturday afternoon or whatever. But I'm sure we'll get some time to party, if not at Shine at somewhere else. Yeah. Do you remember that time at Kendall Calling a few years ago when was it Derry came up in the helicopter because his mate had an helicopter?
Yeah, that's right.
So there's all this buzz on site about EMF are coming on an helicopter, even though I think it was just Derry.
Yeah.
And we saw the helicopter landing, and then that night we were at a party backstage somewhere in one of the tents, and I was talking to Derry, and I said, "Who's that there?" His mate was off his tits.
Worcester.
He had a mate with a glass eye.
Glass eye, Worcester.
And he kept taking it out and putting it in his mouth like, eyeball. And he's there goofing off and fucking raving, this bloke. And I said, who's that? Who's that? Derry? And he said, oh, that's it, mate. He's the one who owns the helicopter. I said, all right. I said, who was the pilot?
He was the pilot.
He's the pilot.
Yeah. And I think they were flying home that night. Yeah, Derry's so class. Like, he goes, is it all right, Jim? Like, I'm going to get my mate's got an helicopter. He's going to bring me my helicopter. I was going, brilliant. But it cost us 300 quid in petrol, for like a 15-minute whatever. So, and then he couldn't get near the festival, so he had to park. They had to land the helicopter on a field over a dual carriageway. So he did this brilliant, spectacular land. It looked really cool, and then had to dart over a dual carriageway to get into the festival. So, but very Derry, you know what I mean? I completely forgot about that, actually. Yeah.
I was talking about Pascal Gabriel after Pascal Gabriel's name came up in conversation earlier today.
Oh yeah, the Belgian.
What he's doing today? Have you seen his new thing that he's doing?
No.
It's called Stubble Man, as in stubble, and I think that's where his name's from.
Yeah.
So it's a live. They're making records, but he's creating these amazing percussion instruments.
Right.
That he then programs a computer to play.
Wow.
So instead of Cubase playing, a sequence on a software or whatever, he's created these mechanical machines that are all like Amazon, like chimes, and have a Google on there. Stubble Man.
It's so out there. Yeah, because he produced our first album.
That's right. Yeah.
We didn't actually finish producing it, but one of the things when we're stuck for an idea, we say, should we put some bottles on it? Because all Pascal used to do was put like percussive bottles all over the mixes and stuff. And that was trademark. So it's funny to see 30 years later, he's like making machines that do it. you know.
Have a look at it. It's quite ambient music at most of
Is
it.
it?
If you
Yeah,
can
I mean,
find
it's
some
talented.
live on YouTube, there's some live footage where they've done gigs, and you can see the machines in action. It's beautiful to watch.
Ah,
So yeah,
that's great.
Pascal,
Right,
legend.
Clint, I won't keep you much longer, but what's the plans for the weekend? Are you just going to be stuck in that room making some tunes? Some house
For
tunes?
me, I'll be taking delivery of my new dishwasher in the next hour, and then I'm going to fit it. I'm going to get it fitted in, hopefully. And then every Friday night, me and my wife Charlie do a disco. It's like a request show that we do over a thing called BeatStream.
Okay.
So
Right.
BeatStream's a live music streaming app, and I'm a partner in it. I've been helping to develop it for 5 years.
Yeah.
So that technology, we already had it in place when the pandemic started. It's audio only, not video, just audio.
Yeah.
But we
And
were
do
due to
people log
launch
into the streams, do they?
Sorry?
People log in and they just hear the live stream.
Yeah, they buy a ticket to
Yeah.
listen digitally, and it means that we're making a bit of money out of it, not loads, but
Yeah.
we started it right at the beginning of the pandemic because this is for your life. So we were going to launch it at the arena last March in Manchester, the arena with Blossoms. Blossoms were on board with launching it. It would have been the first gig on BeatStream where if you couldn't be at the gig, you could listen anywhere in the world in real time.
That's amazing.
High quality audio, right? So we spent 5 or 6 years developing this BeatStream app. That would have been the launch.
Yeah.
So what happened when we went into lockdown in March of last year? I've got this amazing app that I'm already part of. It was the only app in the world where you could. It was the only live music streaming app in the world that was connected to a paywall.
Right. Wow.
Nobody else had anything like it. So we've got this technology there. So from week 1 of the first lockdown, me and Charlie have done a 2-hour DJ set every Friday night, 2-3 hours, pissed up, proper like edgy chit chat. People are getting in touch over Twitter for requests and shouts. And we built this little community of a few hundred people that join us every week, and we make a bit of money out of it. So that's just something I landed on my feet there, because that's going to get bigger and bigger, hopefully, the BeatStream thing.
Yeah, great timing. I know the pandemic's been awful, but it sounds like it may have worked in your favour there a little bit.
Well, tonight it's 46 weeks of us doing that, and it's so, when you see it in action and you feel it, it's so phenomenal what we've created, that I know that will carry on when the clubs start opening and the events come back. A lot of these people would rather just stay at home and party on whatever night of the week we're doing. It might not be Friday, I might move it to another night, but that little culture thing will carry on. A lot of people still want to party over Zoom, and
staying in for this, staying out, isn't it? So
yeah,
brilliant.
So I'm doing that tonight, a disco tonight, and then tomorrow I've not got any career work to do. I'll probably just maybe do a bit more music or maybe more DIY. We've got parts of the house that need painting, so maybe a bit of that. But what about you? What are you doing over the weekend?
Oh, well, it's the start of the half term, so we're going to spend some family time together and kick back a little bit. I mean, our usual, just to break the monotony, we kind of, me and Rach, my wife, get in the studio in here on a Friday night, and we usually like do some tunes. We've been broadcasting some covers. Obviously, I'm trying to promote a new album, so we'll probably do an album track tonight and just put it up on Facebook, Twitter. You know, that's the beauty of, you know, just having a little home studio and getting creative, and it kind of, and the kids will be upstairs gaming, so bit of mum and dad time.
When we were doing our disco on Fridays, the dog usually comes and hangs out with us. We're in the basement. My studio's in the basement of our house, but the dog comes down and sits with us while we're doing our thing. And then the kids will pop in and visit occasionally, get on the mic and have a little chat and that.
Brilliant.
Nice. I love working home. I do think I've actually been spoilt by it, because I think when it comes back to having to go out into the world, I think up here I might struggle with that now, because I've been so long. I'm doing a radio show for me as well, 6 days a week.
That's brilliant.
I'm not having to even drive.
That could just carry on then, couldn't it?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, when it comes to it, you know, I think a lot of these big broadcasting companies would probably rather have people broadcasting from home, because it saves them a lot of rent and a lot of equipment, you know. So I'm hoping that will carry on, you know, being something I can do from home.
Brilliant. We'll have a lovely weekend, yeah?
It's good to see you, and I love the new single as well. I've been listening to it. It's beautiful.
Thanks, Clint. I look forward to hearing some more from you as well. So
I've just written down to send you my new track by as soon as I'll send you my rave track.
I'll have that tonight. Right. All right,
love you all, man.
All right, love you, man.
See you in a bit, brother. Good to see you.
And you. Love you. Bye.